Today's story is The Ghost Horse. In films or books where the hero or heroine wakes up in a strange place, it always takes them a while to work out where they are. Well, I knew exactly where I was when I woke up that Saturday morning. Light was filtering through the flimsy curtains, and I could make out the mouldy old wallpaper, the ugly chest of drawers, and, over the other side of the room, the humpy shape of my sister Shannon still fast asleep in her own bed. Of all the rubbish things about us coming to live here in the cramped and crumbling gate lodge of Herber Hall, and, believe me, there were plenty of rubbish things, having to share a room with my sister was the worst. Being 3 years older than me apparently made Shannon feel that she knew everything and gave her the right to sneer at me and constantly put me down. The only positive was that however fed up I was about the situation, she was twice as annoyed. She'd done nothing but whinge about it since Mum and Dad announced we were moving here. So anyway, I was lying there stewing over how unfair life was when I heard a sound which made my heart soar. Hooves. I leapt out of bed and ran to the window, yanking back the ugly curtains. Out in the lane beyond this narrow strip of garden was a girl about my own age, riding a stocky black pony with a tumbling mane. The pony looked quite content, gazing about him with his ears pricked, but the girl looked a picture of misery. Her eyes were fixed on the road ahead, so she didn't see me at the window, even though they passed right by the gate lodge. I craned my neck to watch until she disappeared down the lane. It was the first pony I'd seen since we'd arrived the previous day, and my heart did that little squeeze which happens when you're both happy and sad about something. One of the very rubbish things about moving here was that we'd left behind the only place where I had access to horses. At the end of the road where we'd lived for the last 3 years, there was a woman called Debbie who'd had 2 aged ponies. I'd help care for them, and in return she'd taken me out riding, which helped her, as the ponies were practically joined at the hip, and taking one out on its own had been pretty much impossible. Debbie had been lovely about it when I told her we were moving. She said I should get Dad to drive me back over to see them whenever I wanted, but it felt like one of those things that adults just say. It was too far to just pop over, and certainly wasn't the same as being there every day to help after school. So, while it was lovely to see a real live pony, seeing the girl riding only reminded me how much I'd missed it, and I felt about as miserable as she looked. That got me wondering why she'd look so unhappy. After all, she had a lovely pony to ride, so what reason did she have to be glum? My mum always said you could never tell what was going on with other people's lives, which was a good point. Perhaps that girl had a wicked stepmum, or perhaps she was about to be sent to boarding school, or perhaps she didn't even like horses and was made to ride.